Welcome to the Dowden Podcast. I'm your host, Cole Gambicki, and today we're going to talk about the real power of identity and why, if you genuinely want to start to change not only your life, but the direction that it is headed in, then it is absolutely crucial for you to stop trying to live in the same exact identity that you always have, and instead just really start to learn not only how to change your current habits and actions, but how to then properly build a new identity that matches them from here on out. But before we get started, make sure to leave a like and subscribe down below. That way you don't miss any weekly episodes and posts. You can find video of this episode strictly on YouTube, but the audio everywhere else. Now, when it comes to truly starting to change not only your life, but the direction that it is headed in, understanding that you have to stop living in the same exact identity that you always have truly is one of the most valuable yet most hardest lessons that I've personally ever had to learn. Because when you think of identity, a lot of us think of just the physical things, but that's not it at all. Your identity is who you are as a person, your standards, your beliefs, your habits, your actions, how you view yourself. And when you have a negative identity, you're going to stay stuck. You're going to remain in these same cycles, and nothing is going to change in your life because that's exactly what was happening with me until I not only started to focus on my current habits and actions, but how to then properly shift myself into a new identity to match them from here on out. Because you see, back when I was still living in the city, always wanting to change my life in the direction that it was headed in was something that I was just damn near doing every single day. Like I was waking up wanting this change, but my identity wasn't matching it. Right? Like we said before, your identity is way more than just your physical looks. It's about you as a person. And I would wake up, I would have negative habits. I would have negative actions. I would think about myself in a negative way. And through that, it would keep me stuck, right? Because I wanted to be an entrepreneur. I wanted to change my life. I wanted to leave the city, but my identity would never match up with that. And because of that, when I tell you guys that it destroyed my confidence, where I wanted to be, in my overall growth, I truly do mean it. Because instead of waking up, motivating myself, talking myself into it. Hey, let's make this change. Let's do this. My identity would come creep in, do the exact opposite, and hold me back. I would sit there and I would want to be an entrepreneur, but then I would go mess around with friends and do street stuff, right? I would want to leave the city, but then I would get in more trouble. And because my identity wasn't matching with how I wanted to live, it was literally destroying my life on a day to day basis. Because when it comes to truly trying to change your life in the same exact identity that you're currently living in now, this is something that is just genuinely not going to do anything but just slowly destroy and sabotage every single little bit of growth and progress that you're trying to build. Because at the end of the day, we talked about this in last episode. It feels good to have a plan. You could say you want to be an entrepreneur. You could say you want to change your life. You could say you want to leave the city. But until your identity matches with these things, none of it matters. Again, your identity is not your physical looks, it's your actions, your habits, your beliefs, your standards. So until those things match up with your overall vision, you're going to remain stuck. You're going to remain in these same exact cycles because that's exactly what it did with me. Understand that in order to make these things real, you have to match your identity with your vision, and you have to start believing in yourself. Not just this little small talk. You genuinely have to believe in yourself in and your capabilities, because until you start to do that, until you start to really sit down with yourself, pick yourself up and match these things together, nothing is really going to change in your life. So, if you genuinely want to start to change not only your life, but the direction that it is headed in, then understanding that you have to stop trying to build it in the same exact identity that you're currently living in now genuinely is so important. Because when I sit here and tell you guys that until your actions, your beliefs, your standards, and your habits match up with the true vision that you're truly trying to build, none of these things are going to change. You're going to remain stuck. You're going to remain in these cycles and you're going to drive yourself crazy because that's exactly what it went and did with me until I not only started to learn how to change my current habits and actions, but how to then properly shift my identity around them from here on out. So, moving forward, instead of just waking up every single day wishing you could be this new person, wishing to be the next entrepreneur, the next content creator, the next NFL player, or just somebody who could change their life, go ahead and do it. Take action towards it. Start matching your identity with these things and start acting like the person you're trying to become. For me, I am not a successful entrepreneur yet, but I carry myself like one because in order to make these things real, you have to act like it, right? Even if you're a growing content creator, you might post a post and it might only get 10 to 20 views, but if you create it like it's getting to 10 to 20,000, your content is going to be good no matter what. It is all about how you carry yourself, your identity towards these things. If you don't have your actions, your habits, your beliefs, and your standards add up with your vision, you are going to remain stuck. So start having your identity match up with these things. Start carrying yourself like the person you want to be. And most importantly, start holding yourself accountable and believe in yourself. Stop telling yourself you're going to do something and then never do it. I used to do this all the time and it didn't do anything but keep me stuck and then build me into this mentality where excuses and laziness was acceptable. It's not. Believe in yourself, hold yourself accountable, and make these things real. Because when I sit here and tell you guys that you can change your life in the direction that it is headed in, I truly do mean it. You just first have to stop trying to live in the same exact identity that you always have and instead just really start to learn not only how to change your current habits and actions, but how to then properly build a new identity around them from here on out. But with that said, today's quote is by Michael J. Gelb. He once said, "You can change your life by changing the way you think about yourself and your potential." I appreciate you tuning in. You can follow us on YouTube, Spotify, and Apple Podcasts. And this is the Dowden Podcast.